think of the world's wealthiest families, names like the Waltons, the Kochs, or the House of Saud might come to mind. But behind the closed doors of the ultra-rich, there's a family whose wealth and influence far surpass any of these. And what sets them apart is not just their vast fortune, it's the mysterious city they've built. A place so exclusive, so secretive, that the general public has no access to it. A city designed not just to house a family, but to be the epicenter of a new world, one that only they can inhabit. This family, whose name you've probably never heard, has created a modern-day fortress, a self-sustaining city located in the heart of nowhere, surrounded by immense wealth and power. But here's the catch: you can't visit, you can't move in, you can't even glimpse what's behind its walls. It's a city designed for the elite few, an enclave where privacy, wealth, and influence reign supreme. But how did this family, whose fortune by some estimates runs into the trillions, build a city that's so exclusive, so cut off from the outside world? And more importantly, what does it mean for the rest of us? How can a family with unimaginable wealth, influence, and power build a secret city that defies every rule of transparency, fairness, and even basic human connection? To understand the origins of this mysterious city, we have to go back in time to a period when this family's wealth was just beginning to explode. It all started with one man, a visionary who saw the future not just in terms of money, but in terms of control. The idea was simple. If you control everything, from resources to technology to land, you control the world. This man, who started from humble beginnings, slowly amassed a fortune that would soon allow him to do something that no one had ever considered before: build a city. But not just any city. A city for the ultra-wealthy, for those who could afford the privilege of living in a world untouched by the struggles of the masses. The idea for the city began as a whisper, an ambitious dream shared in private meetings and whispered boardroom discussions. But as the family's wealth grew, so did their vision. What began as an idea to create an isolated space for privacy and luxury soon transformed into a sprawling metropolis that would rival any of the world's major cities, yet remain utterly out of reach for the public. This was a place where the rules didn't apply, where the normal barriers of society, such as class and access, were erased. The family's city was built with cutting-edge technology, drawing on the most advanced and secure systems of the modern age. From the design of the buildings to the intricate systems of energy, water, and waste management, every aspect of the city was engineered to ensure privacy, sustainability, and absolute control. But this wasn't just about comfort and luxury. It was about power. The city would be a place where the richest and most influential could live, work, and thrive without interference from the outside world. A place where they would be free to make their own rules, free from the constraints that most of the world faces. But building such a city didn't come without controversy. As the plans for this secretive, ultra-wealthy city began to take shape, questions arose. How could one family control so much? How could a city exist with no oversight, no accountability? As the plans unfolded, whispers of corruption, exploitation, and even fear began to swirl around this growing empire. What was the real purpose behind the city? Was it simply a place for the rich to retreat from the world? Or was it something far darker? Something that could change the balance of power in the world forever? The city's location, hidden deep in a remote area, was deliberately chosen to keep it out of the public eye. Satellite imagery and drones have been blocked from capturing clear images of the city's layout. The family's lawyers and security teams have ensured that no one can access or even see what's happening within the city's walls. The city's inhabitants, rich beyond imagination, live in complete seclusion, only venturing out when absolutely necessary. Even the residents' identities are a closely guarded secret. The world can only guess at what goes on behind those high walls and what is truly happening in this self-contained world of extreme wealth. But while the family's city remains an enigma, its existence sends a powerful message about the future of wealth and power. It shows us just how far the richest families are willing to go to protect their fortunes and their influence. In a world where the gap between the ultra-wealthy and the rest of us continues to grow, this city stands as a symbol of that divide, a divide that's becoming harder and harder to bridge. The family is, in essence, building a system where they can exert even greater control over industries, governments, and financial markets without anyone being the wiser. With all their resources concentrated in one place, with access to cutting-edge technologies and innovation, this city is poised to become an incubator for the next generation of global influencers. But the city's exclusivity raises uncomfortable questions. What happens when a small group of people can exist outside the laws and structures that the rest of the world must follow? It's no secret that wealth has a corrupting influence, and when wealth is so concentrated, so isolated in one place, it begins to wield tremendous power. This is a family with the resources to shape entire industries, control narratives, and influence policies on a global scale. And they're doing it from within the walls of their secret city. They have their own security, their own laws, and their own rules, untouched by the very systems that regulate the rest of the world. The secrecy surrounding this city only deepens the mystery. Despite the fact that satellite technology and drones have made it easier than ever to track developments in remote areas, the family has managed to keep their city hidden. No one knows how big the city truly is, what its infrastructure looks like, or how it operates on a daily basis. The family's efforts to keep this information secret are nothing short of impressive. Anyone who attempts to breach their security faces the threat of legal action, or worse, complete erasure from public records. This control over information is one of the key tools the family uses to maintain their dominance. By keeping their city hidden and their operations obscure, they ensure that the public remains in the dark about the true scope of their wealth and influence. In a world where the richest 1% hold an ever-increasing share of the world's wealth, this family is pushing the boundaries of how much power can be concentrated in the hands of so few. What makes this family's city even more striking is the fact that it's not just about living in luxury. It's about creating an entirely separate ecosystem. One where everything from energy production to waste management to even education and health services is controlled by the family. This city operates like a sovereign state, independent of national governments and international regulations. With the ability to control resources and infrastructure within this self-contained system, the family has effectively built their own world, a world that can operate outside the constraints of global markets and government oversight. Consider the rise of private companies that have become the lifeblood of this city. These companies provide the very fabric of daily life. Everything from technology, transportation, and healthcare, to energy production, security, and food. By controlling these resources, the family is not only shaping their own city, but also influencing industries worldwide. Their reach extends far beyond the walls of their private city. As they work behind closed doors to shift markets, control innovation, and ensure that their wealth grows exponentially. This vision of a private, isolated city isn't entirely new. Throughout history, the world has seen elites build private compounds, isolated villas, and luxurious retreats, places where they could escape the pressures of society. But what sets this city apart is the scale and the ambition behind it. This is not just a retreat for the ultra-wealthy. It's a vision for the future, a place that could shape the global power dynamics in ways we haven't yet imagined. What makes this city even more dangerous is its potential to set a precedent for others to follow. Imagine a world where cities are divided not just by wealth, but by access to resources, where those who can afford to live in such cities are no longer bound by the same rules as the rest of us. These cities would be governed by the wealthy few, a select group that wields control over everything from infrastructure to the environment to global supply chains. But as much as these exclusive cities symbolize the power and privilege of the rich, they also reflect an unsettling truth. As wealth and power become more concentrated in the hands of the few, the rest of society may find themselves locked out, not just physically, but economically and politically as well. The family city stands as a warning about what could happen if this trend continues unchecked. The story of this city raises more questions than it answers. Is this the future of urbanization? Will we see more of these secretive, self-sustaining cities rise in the coming decades? Will the rich continue to build their own private worlds, while the rest of us are left to contend with the world's growing challenges? And perhaps most importantly, will the systems of power, influence and secrecy that these cities embody begin to spill out into the rest of the world. As we watch this family's city grow, we are left to wonder, is this the future of power? Or is it just the beginning of a new chapter in a world where wealth and secrecy reign supreme? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This city is just the tip of the iceberg. What do you think of the idea of secret cities built for the ultra-wealthy? Could they be the future of urban living, or do they represent a growing danger to society? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's discuss what this could mean for the future of our world.